So Joaquincito, let's just play this sort of stuff I'm getting used to. I think quick d4 here. Because of f5 being played, I like to interrupt this plan. Then knight g5 maybe. So I'm going to try and get back onto the dark squares, control the dark squares, particularly f4. So something like h4 might actually be appropriate here, because it's not losing a pawn immediately, like knight h3, queen h4. So I can get grip now. There's the big question, is black going to play h6? The game recently, this WM, she delayed and delayed and delayed on playing h6. So let's just try and play on the queen side, waiting for that h6 move. In fact, I could try and castle queen side. So I could wait for black, hopefully, to weaken a bit. Maybe bishop g2. Finally. c5 check, that's d5. So okay, I'll play this to go back to f4. Right. Now maybe d5 actually locks in that bishop. If I play d5, maybe I can use this diagonal. Okay, I'll put the bishop there to use that diagonal. So compressing down the opponent's pieces a bit. Although maybe my king's a bit vulnerable here. Taking might expose the king. I'll move the king out. So I think here I'm comfortable positionally. Though having said that, how do I actually defend f2? Do I have to retreat the knight? That's quite an embarrassing question. Okay, so knight h3. I'll try that. So just as I thought, I was comfortable. That happens. Anyway, I've still got control of d5. I'm not losing material just quite yet. But f3 is difficult to manage now because of knight e3. That could be annoying. Do I still want to play for this bishop g3? Or is there something better? e3, then knight can swing in e5 to f3. Although knight e5, bishop e2, I'm covering these up a bit. But is the bishop better here? Am I going to sack on e4? I've been interrupted now totally in my thoughts with this move. Couldn't I just try and win material now with c takes? C takes b, c takes d. I don't like this pin, although I'll be winning that knight there. But then d4. So I'm wondering, d takes c. No, there's again that pin. Okay, so how do I want to get pinned? Maybe this way. So c takes d, c takes d4. It's fascinating. What about c takes, knight takes? There's knight c7. Maybe knight takes e7 there, breaking out of the pin. Now this is the case, I think e3 is good, because I'm immediately then on b5, and d5 is stronger now. Stronger, did I say? I don't know what I'm talking about. But I can protect actually this f2 with rook d2 now. So if I can get back to f4, I can protect d5. Okay, I can protect d5. Maybe h5 to start putting the squeeze on the light squares. Is he going to allow me h5, or is he going to play g5? So knight f3 or knight c4. I think I'll stop at least knight f3 with this move. So that means I can bring the rook to d1. So let's overprotect. But then knight b6, I don't know. Fancy overprotection might not work here. Anything quicker? I can't see anything quicker either. a4 might be interrupting some things. Bishop h7, that might weaken e6 a bit. Actually, bishop h5, I think that's useful actually if I can achieve that exchange, although I'm weakening my own light squares even more. In fact, immediately knight c4. Okay, well there's some weaknesses to work on here on the diagonal. So knight c4 is a menace. I think I have to play something like this. So if my rook's going to move, the other one's going to protect d5. Although c takes and knight d3 is horrible. So am I getting positionally done? Probably. Offering an exchange with queens, grovel. But on the other hand, the bishop gets liberated. I'll be threatening something, maybe. So I'll move here for the moment. So b4 is going to be under fire, or my queen even. Okay. Can I move the queen here? This is ridiculous. Or no, knight e6. Okay, over here. It's good the pawn's in the way, otherwise bishop e7 would be annoying. Once knight e6 happens, knight d3, I can't take on d3. So how about knight e2 and then taking on e5, or knight e2 here, or knight e6. I think get a move on knight e6, whatever. Maybe the other knight's f4. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to lose that bishop on the diagonal. That would weaken the king. Unless it's taking that bishop, in which case I'll be safer than simply losing the bishop. Although knight d3, I have to protect this pawn now, maybe with rook b1. But then d5 drops. Knight d3. Okay, shall I take on f6? I'll take on f6. Preparing to sack this pawn, maybe, or queen c3, rook f7. Queen c3 looks like an active move. If rook f7, that's a good question. Or even that. That's another good question. I think d5 is going to drop. So, but maybe knight f4 happens. Okay, can I get rid of this knight at least on d3, or get my other knight back to d4? Knight d8 is worth bearing in mind. Doesn't do anything, just loses a piece at the moment. Knight c7. I'm just looking at candidate knight moves. Taking here. Nope. All right, looks a bit desperate. Let's get this knight back, and then knight takes d3, I think. Get rid of this horrible knight on d3. Stuck in the front. Although queen c4 would have been useful there. Although there's queen c7 now, there's knight c6. Queen c4. Try queen c4. Actually, knight e6 might be something. I'm not quite getting mated on the skewer here because of queen d6. If takes, bishop f7, queen d6, check. My rook's anyway protecting a2, so king moves somewhere. I don't know, knight g5, knight d8, knight c7. Oh, knight c5. Knight c5, winning the queen. If the king moves onto the light square, then knight c5. If king e7, then I don't know. Let's go back here. Ask the question again to the opponent. Although bishop f7, queen c7. I don't know, do I want to play h5, try and unwind f5? I think I'll slip that in. Okay, maybe f3, just try and dismantle this structure. Okay, who's dismantling who? That's the question. Okay. Any concrete threats yet? Rook takes b3, if b3. Okay. I think I'll take that and take here. Can I play for e5 or something? He takes this and take over there. Maybe rook b7, rook g7. throwing a few pre-moves. Oops, just dropped a rook. Naughty, naughty. Oh dear, oh dear, dear, oh dear. He forfeits in time. Just not dropping a rook is not a good idea. Getting down to 1 second is not a good idea in general. So just here, yeah, rook d6 would have been nice. Big advantage. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.